Welcome to the Sleazy Podcast, the podcast about anything and everything, but mostly TV and movies. And now it's time to get sleazy.
All right. Welcome back to the world-renowned Sleazy Podcast. I'm your host, Sleazy. And as always, I'm joined by my number one, Mr. PBS.
Howdy.
How's it going, man?
Oh, another week.
Another week,
Another day,
another dollar, as the older folks would say. And if you're wondering, we sadly are not joined by.
If you're wondering where Robzilla is, so are we.
Yes.
Where's your? We need to edit your Walter White post over there to Robzilla. You can just see it off screen there, like missing Robzilla.
Yes, missing.
Last seen at Kroger on South High Street in his underwear.
And you know what's funny is like we never got like an official I'm not going to make it.
Right.
It was like we were planning to do Friday originally to record, and you were like, I can't do it. I'm working nights. You got inventory this weekend. So we're like, okay, well, I'm just trying to, get the bearing straight here. I'm like, how does Sunday sound? And, around 3, you're like, I can do that. Never heard anything from Rob. It was just like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. It's Tracy's birthday weekend. And it's like tonight is actually the second night of WrestleMania too. So our wrestling buddies really like, what's the deal? Are we watching WrestleMania? I'm like, you guys can come over after I get done recording. I got no problem with that. And we're trying to get an answer out of Robzilla again. And it's like not happening. He gave us his full daily syllabus. And he was like, in the morning, I got to visit Dad. Then at 9 a.m., Tracy's dad is coming over to work on the basement. And then after that, we have Tracy's birthday and family coming over. It's like,
Dear Diary,
I'll try to make it. Just say you're not going to make it, dude. Just tell us you're not going to make it. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. Yeah, we'll give you shit. I mean, that always happens. But we understand family comes first.
You remember Doogie Howser? Did you ever watch that?
Here and there. Yeah.
But at the end of the episode, he writes in his computer his little diary.
Yeah.
We need to do
he types, doesn't he?
Yeah, he types it in, and then he erases it or saves it or something. Then we need to do Robzilla's daily diary entry. Woke up today, gave myself 100 milligrams of insulin.
Yeah.
Gave the dog 5, and then had a bologna sandwich.
It's funny though. There's always some sort of, well, it's the dog. Well, I'm feeling blah. It's like, how many movies have come out the past 2 weeks? I mean, we're talking good movies that we could be talking about on the show.
Yeah.
And granted, I could go see these myself. I had a busy week last week because of the rain, and it was like red alert over here to keep the basement from trying not to flood.
The week of floods and tornadoes.
And then the next night I had to put everything back together down here because we picked certain things up just in case we can't keep the water under control. But it was like, I was like, hey, Rob, do you want to go see Late Night with the Devil? I do, but I'm just tired and I'm feeling kind of blah. It's like, really?
The thing was, I was thinking about it, he had to work the next day after being off for a week.
Yeah.
He could have just said that. He could have been like, I'm the same way. I've got to start back to work tomorrow.
I'm just not in the mood.
I want to have an in night and go to bed.
I don't feel like leaving the house.
Yeah. It's like,
even though I would have gave him shit for that.
Right.
As rightfully so, anybody deserves to have shit, for that. Like, you're such a lazy fuck. You can't get off the couch to go sit down in a theater and watch a movie. Well, I'm just feeling kind of blah.
I already fell asleep watching a movie.
Yeah.
1 star.
Yeah, I just couldn't get off the couch. It's just, life is so hard. Love him to death. And people are going to be like, you guys are terrible. You're terrible for making fun of him. Like, no, we're not. He needs to hear it to a certain extent.
Man up. You're almost 40 now.
Yeah. You've been on vacation all week, bro. You haven't done shit. You're good. You can get up off the couch. All right. So I think we got a good show. Hopefully you guys are ready to listen to it and watch it, whatever you do. I don't know what people do nowadays. But we're going to start it off with some crazy news. Then from there, we'll go to X-Men 97, just debuted on Disney Plus about 4 weeks ago.
Are all the episodes out?
No, it's released weekly.
I thought they were doing weekly
10
stuff.
episodes. Episode 4 just released. Have you caught up with it?
No Disney Plus.
Oh, man. Come on, man. Well, you get Hulu with it now, too. So it's kind of worth it. Then from there, we're going to talk about the new Roadhouse movie on Amazon Prime.
Roadhouse.
Yes, Roadhouse. And we will close the show out with our thoughts on Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And it's not going to be like a spoiler-free talk. I think, it's been out for how many weeks now?
Well,
I think we're good to kind of discuss it at length.
How spoilery are you? Like, there's ghosts in it. Ah!
Yeah. There's a ghost that likes ice. Okay, so I guess, is it time to do crazy news?
Suppose it is.
All right. Does this want to give you notifications? No, I don't want notifications.
The answer is always no.
Yes.
I do not want notifications.
And the ads that are, going on with these things now. It's ridiculous. All right. Do you want to read this, or do you want me to read it? You want to take turns? How's it going to go?
We can take turns or whatever.
You want to pick this one up first?
Sure.
All right.
Let me load it up here.
This is from the Morning Call.
Morning Call.
So.
News, crime and public safety. Man in Scream costume killed neighbor with chainsaw and knife.
Good
in
God.
Layton, police say. This is from March 26th. Read more here. Oh, come on.
Man, they got you going through the gauntlet to get this. It's funny. I wish you could see it on the screen, but you can't. It's like tiny.
Yeah. Hold on. It's loading up now, baby. Come on.
You want me to take it? I got it from here.
I got it. I just had to get off Facebook,
Okay.
Anyway, a man dressed in a Scream costume killed his neighbor Monday in Layton and then went back home to watch a movie, according to police.
Wow. That's dedication right there.
It's cold. State police said Zach Russell Moyer, 30, intended to kill his neighbor, Edward Whitehead Jr., 59, because of crimes he believed Whitehead committed. Moyer is charged with 1 count of homicide. He was sent to Carbon County Jail without bail. Police responded about 3:30 p.m. Monday to the 200 block of Carbon Street for a report of an assault. Whitehead was hit with a knife and a chainsaw, according to court documents.
Jesus.
He was taken to St. Luke's Hospital Carbon, where he died from his injuries. It's got to take something to attack somebody with a chainsaw.
Right. I mean, that's full on commitment to mutilating somebody.
I get, you stab somebody, but like if a chainsaw, you got to be digging into
that's psychotic behavior. No doubt.
Investigators searched surveillance footage and saw a man dressed in a Scream costume enter the rear of Whitehead's home. Authorities said a Scream costume is a black hooded costume with a white ghost mask. It is featured in the horror movie series of the same name. After canvassing the area, police tracked that person, later identified as Moyer, to his home. There's an ad. Thank you, ad. Court documents state Moyer told officers that he believed Whitehead was behind certain recent crimes. Police said he surrendered to police without incident. Moyer told police initially he went to the home to scare Whitehead.
Really? With a chainsaw?
Right.
Hey, okay.
These ads are killing me. When questioned again, Moyer admitted he went there to kill Whitehead because of the crimes he believed were committed, police said. He told police he stabbed Whitehead with a knife, then returned to his home where he hid the chainsaw and knife, court documents state. He watched a movie until authorities arrived, police said. Moyer was arraigned Tuesday morning. He did not have an attorney listed.
Wonder what movie he watched.
That's kind of what I'm wondering.
did he put Scream on?
Does he put Scream on? Did he put on like a comfort movie?
Yeah, that's kind of weird, man.
And that's kind of, you were just telling me a story before we started about you've got somebody staying with the neighbors who's kind of gets around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just imagine somebody, in your home
with the Scream mask.
Yeah.
The Scream costume, not the Scream mask.
Some kind of, ill intentions, unlike your neighbor, who's just kind of what they do in a way.
Yeah.
But like somebody you don't know in your house with the weapon, and you just,
Do you think he entered the house and he was just kind of like, the guy was like, what are you doing in here? Who is this? And he just kind of didn't say anything and tilted the
Right.
screen mask over, like they do in the movies. That's some crazy shit, bro. I mean, you're just sitting there enjoying your day, and somebody comes in the house in a fucking chainsaw and a ghost face costume, and you're like, what the fuck?
late lunch or something. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, I got to think when you see the chainsaw, you're like, fuck, this is fucking it right here. Unless you're, a patriot
Right.
and you've got the home defense going on. And that's another thing. Like, why don't these people ever attack other people that have, obviously we know the answer to that.
Well,
They're not attacking anybody that's carrying guns.
It's always funny because I'm not like a big gun guy either, but every now and then you read a story like that, you're thinking maybe there'd just been one nearby.
Yeah. I think everybody should have some type of defense in their home, whether it's a handgun or a baseball bat or something. I mean, you got to have something to protect yourself if somebody gets in the house.
I've got throughout the house, I know where things are that I can whack somebody with if I have to, at least.
That's what every room we have, like a baseball bat in. And then, I've obviously got, a handgun, something, like, I just feel like times are crazy now. You never know when something's going to collapse and people are going to come in your house looking for shit, So, I mean, and chances are if they're desperate, they're going to have some sort of utility
right
with them, accessory. But crazy, man. Crazy. Fucking Scream. Do you think he was like, what's your favorite scary movie?
We need to go from like crazy news to just fucked up news.
Yeah.
It's not even crazy anymore. It's just all messed.
It really is. I mean,
what happened to our shootouts in Florida? That was crazy.
Yeah. People throwing alligators in houses and stuff like that. Like nowadays we just got.
Remember when Florida man was the worst thing you had to worry about?
Yeah. And it's no longer that case. It's crazy me. So this has been the big news the past couple of weeks.
This is what I want to get into because I haven't been following it, but
neither have I. Like, I just heard about the raids and stuff, but I'm like, why? I mean, I know there's some human sex trafficking kind of deal going on here.
You see like a rich person get raided and you think, I don't know, some kind of taxes or something. They're not paying somebody, or maybe they did something kind of bad, but
yeah, this is something else. All right. This one comes from BBC.com. Sean Diddy Combs, what we know about the accusations against him. And for those of you that don't know, his homes in Miami and LA were raided. His kids were detained. I don't know if they were exactly arrested, but detained during the search of the property. And it looks like they fucked that house up searching for stuff.
I love the photo of his neighbor, Ridley Scott.
Yeah. Just because he couldn't get to his house.
Yeah. He's just standing out in the road with the cop or whatever.
Like, imagine you think you've achieved some level of success where you don't have to deal with this kind of bullshit. And then you go home, you've got to take a monster shit or something. Right. And then you see the fucking FBI and I believe Homeland Security was involved in these raids. And you're just like, what the fuck? Who is living across the street from me?
What is going on in this neighborhood?
A string of sexual assault allegations have been made against Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most successful music moguls in history of rap. 4 women, including his longtime partner, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, have filed lawsuits against the musician, accusing him of sexual and physical abuse. Eesh. Producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones filed a similar suit in February, alleging Combs abused him over a year-long period when he was living on the star's properties and working on his music. That's crazy, isn't it? In a statement issued last December, Combs defended himself against what he described as sickening allegations made by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged, he said, adding he would fight to clear his name. However, in March 2024, federal agents raided 2 houses owned by the star as part of an ongoing investigation into sex trafficking. Wow, we got some... what's our boy that hung himself? The rich guy. He hung himself in prison. Everybody,
Oh, Epstein.
Yeah, we got some Epstein shit going on here.
Did he hang himself?
Yeah. No, he didn't. His lawyer called the action an unprecedented ambush and a gross overuse of military level force. Yeah, it totally fucking was. Look at this. These guys are all suited up, ready for anything, and maintained his client's innocence. Combs, who has also gone by the names Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Love, and Brother Love, essentially rewrote the rules of hip hop in the 1990s, but his career has been punctuated by controversies. Here's a timeline of his career and the accusations made against him.
I don't recall the Love and Brother Love periods.
Oh yeah, that was kind of like a couple years ago.
Yeah,
because Brother Love from WWE,
yeah,
or whatever, he was like, "No, there's only one Brother Love here, buddy. You need to learn you need to stay in your lane."
So that's the Brother Love I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Okay, dude, it's given us a whole life here. 69 to 89, early life in New York. Sean John Combs was born in Harlem and raised in Mount Vernon, New York. His mother, Janice, was a teacher assistant, while his father, Melvin, was a former member of the U.S. Air Force who became an associate of the drug trafficker Frank Lucas, who later inspired the Ridley Scott film American Gangster. I fucking love that movie.
There you go. Maybe Ridley was doing some research.
Yeah, right? That's so funny that he's connected to this in some shape or form. In 1972, Melvin was fatally shot in his car during a drug transaction after being misidentified as an informant. Combs was just 2, although he didn't learn the circumstances of his father's death until much later. Raised by his mother, he was a flashy kid who loved rap music and played football for the school team. As a teenager, he danced in music videos for artists such as Diana Ross and the Fine Young Cannibals. Okay. Taking a cue from his mother, he worked multiple jobs to support Sean and his sister, Kesha, or Keisha, however you want to say that. He also worked 6 separate newspaper delivery routes before enrolling to study business administration at Howard University. Oh, wow. Early 90s party plans turning into tragedy.
Just get you 6 paper routes.
Right, yeah. Make ends meet. You don't know what it's like until you've had to work 6 paper routes. At university, Combs gained a reputation for throwing lavish parties, some of which attracted more than 1,000 guests. Jesus. After booking musicians such as Heavy D and Terry Riley to play at these gigs, he came to the attention of Uptown Records founder Andre Harrell, who gave him an internship in New York. Combs eventually dropped out of university to work there full time, guiding the early careers of artists including Mary J. Blige and Jodeci. However, tragedy struck in 1991 when Combs co-promoted a celebrity basketball game and concert at a city college in New York. Nearly 5,000 people showed up to the gymnasium, which could only fit 2,730 people. In the ensuing crush, 9 people died and 29 were injured. Fuck.
Damn.
I didn't know any of this. Did you?
I hadn't heard that before.
An inquiry by the New York mayor's office cited Combs for hiring inexperienced security guards. However, the star and his lawyers maintained he was not responsible for security at the event. It's your event. How are you not responsible for it? City College is something I deal with every day of my life, the musician said in 1998. But the things that I deal with can in no way measure up to the pain that the families deal with. I just pray for the families and pray for the children who lost their lives every day. No criminal charges were ever filed. But family members of the people who died sued the promoters, the college, and the city, accusing them of negligence. The case was settled for $3.8 million, of which Mr. Combs paid $750,000. Good Lord. Mid to late 90s, a new beginning. While at Uptown, Combs signed a young Brooklyn rapper called Christopher Wallace, a.k.a. Biggie Smalls, or Notorious B.I.G., and started work on his debut album, but the relationship with Harrell broke down and Combs was fired. He retaliated by setting up his own label, Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy for Life, and taking Biggie with him. The star's debut album, Ready to Die, was hailed as an all-time rap classic, selling millions of copies and generating a multi-platinum singles, Juicy and Big Papa. Hell yeah. Combs quickly expanded the Bad Boy roster, releasing hit albums by Faith Evans, Mace, 112, and Total. Yeah, some good stuff back in the day. The label's sound was slick and polished. Its biggest singles lifted chunky samples from well-known hits. The practice was frowned upon by hip-hop purists, but it was catnip to radio programmers.
Chunky samples.
97, Notorious B.I.G. is murdered. In March 97, Biggie Smalls was gunned down in a drive-by shooting at the age of 24. The murder has never been solved, but it has consistently been linked to the East Coast West Coast rivalry that consumed rap music in the 1990s and which had previously claimed the life of Tupac Shakur. Combs, who had been traveling in the car behind his friend, poured his grief into a song, I'll Be Missing You, which became one of the biggest songs of 1997. The song, based around the Police's Every Breath You Take, also featured on Combs' debut album, No Way Out, which sold 7 million copies worldwide.
Yeah, that was a big song.
It was a big song. I remember it. You know, we lived through that whole. I remember.
I was there.
I still remember seeing like both Tupac and Biggie. You know, the MTV news feed that was on the bottom of the show. I remember that scrolling.
I don't remember too much. I'm sure I knew who they were, generally speaking, but
yeah,
big stuff.
Okay, so there was a shooting in 1999. I'm not going to keep reading this. We got too much to get into. 2003, he was sued by a business partner. 2005 to 2008, relationship with Cassie Ventura. Oh, she's cute. Yeah, he always seemed to get these like outrageous looks the older he got, you know. That's not too outrageous because I mean they're like dressed up, but you got the big old platinum chain there. Let's see here. Business ventures. 2015, he was arrested for fighting football coach. Okay. 2019, Gina Huena alleges abuse. I probably butchered that name. Sorry. September 2023, he has a musical comeback. I don't remember that comeback. Do you?
Not particularly.
Combs ended an 8-year music hiatus with the release of his 5th record titled The Love Album, Off the Grid. It featured collaborations with The Weeknd, Justin Bieber, 21 Savage, and Mary J. Blige. The release coincided with Combs being named a global icon at the MTV Movie or Music Awards.
Whoops.
Yeah. Global icon indeed. November 2023, 3 lawsuits in the space of 1 week. Oh, yeah. December 2023, underage sex claim. Oh, shit. A 4th woman in December claiming she was sex trafficked and gang raped by Combs, former Bad Boy Records president Harvey Pierre, and another man in 2003 when she was just 17 years old. And court papers, the woman alleged she was given copious amounts of drugs and alcohol before the attack and was left in so much pain that she could barely stand or remember how she got home. In response, Combs said he did not have anything to do or did not do any of the awful things being alleged, while Pierre said the disgusting allegations were false and a desperate attempt for financial gain. The judge in the case later ruled that the woman who filed her case anonymously would have to use her real name if she wanted to proceed. Oh, that's kind of fucked up, you know? Like, some people don't want the
all the attention,
the backlash that comes with that, you know, being called a liar and all that. December 23, Diddy's denial. Responded to the flurry of lawsuits with a statement on his Instagram page. Enough is enough, he wrote. For the last couple of weeks, I have sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation and my legacy. That's pretty destroyed now, almost. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things being alleged. I will fight for my name, my family, and the truth. And take his vitamins.
Yeah.
February 2024, accusations are grooming. Then we find ourselves to March 2024. Combs properties are raided. It's like you said earlier, we were talking about this before we were recording, and you were like, you know, I saw a video of him. It was like a Zoom call or something with some little girl, and you're just kind of like, this is weird, you know?
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, that is fucking weird. I saw that video. I know what you're talking about.
It's like you're watching it like, is this real?
Yeah.
And like I was like watching something out of a horror movie. Like you're kind of watching like is something bad about to happen?
You're just waiting for something to happen to this poor girl. And she's like giving this awkward smile, and she's like, yeah, P. Diddy adopted me and I'm a white girl. Like, okay, what's going on here?
The whole video had a very weird vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was seriously weird. Okay. So we've got 2 more articles here to get through.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't, at a certain point, it's, it's not about a sexual thing or anything. It's about being powerful and all that. And
Yeah.
I guess being rich, gets to you.
So it sounds like they're raiding him for sex trafficking
Right.
allegations and stuff like that, trying to find some sort of evidence to trace back on these things, these allegations. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the next 6 months to a year. And then there was this thing that he fled to. Did you hear about that?
I don't know.
Supposedly he fled the country.
Okay.
But I don't know how true that is. I'm not going to take the time to look it up. But people were tracking his jet to some island off of Africa or something.
Okay.
They don't have a, they can't, come after you lawfully or whatever. But crazy shit nonetheless. P. Diddy's on the run. Bad boy for life.
Yeah, it's weird too, because I don't, they talk about sex trafficking, and it's not always exactly, you think of like, I don't know, like a worldwide sex trafficking ring or something. It's not, doesn't necessarily have to be that complicated.
Yeah.
And so, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like it's kind of maybe not on like Epstein level, but it's on a level where Homeland Security is raiding your house along with other agencies. So
yeah, I always, I don't want to say I feel bad, but it's hard because you hear all this stuff, and obviously we don't know any facts. I'm not obviously.
That's the thing. It's just like there's not a whole lot of what's going out other than these accusations, and we're having to assume that it's part of that.
Yeah, and obviously, there's a lot of accusations in here,
and this isn't even the end of it. I forgot to mention, but he's linked to Tupac's murder.
Yeah,
I guess some guys singing that he was, organized it or something. So
it's always something.
He's in deep shit. Though.
Yeah,
I could see why if he did flee the country, why he fled the country.
Whatever he may or may not have done, he is definitely in deep shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty crazy.
All right, we moving on.
Moving on.
All right, this one comes from people.com.
People.
You got this one?
Well, I can do this one. Baby.
You need some caffeine there, brother?
I don't know. It's just hitting me. People magazine. Oklahoma senior facing eviction lit himself on fire.
Whew.
Tried to torch deputies before they rescued wife from blaze.
How bad is it in today's world where the only option you have from eviction is to just set yourself on fire because you're fucked.
If they had the guy who was protesting what's going on in Israel and Gaza set himself on fire a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, you either got to be kind of crazy or kind of like gutsy to do something like that. A form of protest or any kind of form of protest like that. It's just like, you got to be ready to do it.
It's like the one Rage Against the Machine album had the cover of the was it the monk setting himself on fire?
Yeah, that's
that's the worst way to die.
They say that's one of the worst ways to go
because you feel it all the way through, don't you?
At least until it I think it's got to burn your nerves basically.
Yeah.
Once it does that, you won't exactly feel it.
Oh,
but
what
of course,
a terrible
at the same
way.
time, you're inhaling all that smoke.
Yeah.
Too, so you can't. It's just.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
I think I would just rather hold a sign up and protest. Block a car or something like that. Yeah, talk about getting your point through.
Anthony Golding, 82, was killed in the fire. An Oklahoma man died after setting himself on fire while sheriff's deputies attempted to serve him an eviction notice. Harrowing body camera footage released by the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office shows the moment Anthony Golding, 82, started a fire that quickly engulfed his home. Sheriff Tommy Johnson III said Golding appeared to throw a gas can at one of the two female deputies.
Oh, shit.
Deputies had to rescue Golding's wife, who has Parkinson's, from the fire. One of the officers suffered a minor burn. In the video, two deputies enter the home and speak to Golding's wife, who is sitting on the couch. The deputy then turns, and Golding is seen down a hallway pouring fluid from a gas can. As the deputy approaches him, he pulls out what appears to be a lighter. He then lights the floor in front of him and is immediately covered in flames, which quickly spread around the rest of the room.
He was like, if I can't stay here, none of you motherfuckers are staying in this house.
The two deputies then went back into the living room to help the woman out of the Oklahoma City home. The two deputies, unable to carry the woman, who was unable to walk on her own, had to drag her out of the house as the blaze spread. At a briefing, Johnson said one of the deputies serving the eviction notice had previously spent time with Golding and his wife, trying to help arrange a place to stay following the eviction. A spokesperson from the sheriff's office tells people the woman, who was not injured during the fire, currently has a place to stay. The spokesperson also confirmed that a dog was killed in the fire.
Oh, Hate that.
The way they throw that in there, net list.
Right there. Like, oh, and by the way, a precious dog was killed.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
you think you got nowhere to go? I mean, 82, you're old too, and a wife with Parkinson's is probably up there too. That's
very sad news, but we got to do something to help people out. I think, when it comes down to eviction, at least figure a way out to ease them into a new place somehow that they
Right.
can afford or something, I mean, I get it, sink or swim is the mentality that, our country is founded on, but
pull your bootstraps up.
yeah, but I mean, these are elderly people too. I mean, something's going on that they can't pay these bills, but it's just terrible, man.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And
Pretty
these people
bad.
probably worked all their lives and they're
Yeah.
losing their home, and terrible news. And like I said, how bad does it have to be in order for you to say, man, it's fucking, we're done.
Right.
Set myself on fire to prove a
Right.
point here.
That with your wife who can't leave and the family dog in there or something?
Yeah. I mean, like, even if I was in bad shape, I would want my dog to at least go to somebody that
Right.
could take care of him. If I was going to do that, I wouldn't set the dog on fire.
Go out on its own or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I would make sure that this was, and taken care of for him at least. But then again, these people have no, they're old. They probably don't know anybody anymore.
All right. You think, I mean, that's how bad are your options?
They say
one of them is even setting yourself on fire.
I've listened to, a couple of like, what do you want to call it? I don't TED Talks or, just people lecturing or whatever. And, a lot of people say, as you get older, your world shrinks. And that is so fucking true. And I mean, just who knows? I just can't imagine what that dude was feeling and thinking that resulted in this behavior.
Right.
I mean,
maybe he wasn't all there to begin with.
And that right there is a testament of how things are in our country and our world. It's that bad.
Right.
You'd rather set yourself on fire than figure it out.
Yeah. Whatever else you got going on, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah. I came across this next article. This is our last crazy news article.
Back to Florida.
Great. You can always count on Florida for great stimulating news. Kind of keep us going here. All right. This comes from TampaBay.com, Tampa Bay Times. Tampa woman accused of posing as teen and molesting child faces more charges. Crazy. Look at this lady. She is smoking, isn't she?
Alyssa Zinger.
Yeah, Alyssa Zinger. But I just want to know, where was these hot chicks when I was younger, looking for this kind of, tomfoolery, I guess you could say, with older women. 23-year-old Tampa woman arrested in November after she was accused of posing as a 14-year-old girl while having a sexual relationship with a child has been arrested again and is now facing charges related to 4 more juvenile victims, authorities said. She was getting around. And that's the thing, like, you're 23 years old. What does a 14-year-old have to offer you?
Right.
I just don't understand it.
What's a 14-year-old have to offer anybody?
And at the same time, I'm like, are these kids really victims? I mean, I'm going to take some heat for saying that, but
yeah, I mean,
I guess there's the victim thing of them falling in love and then having that taken away from them, realizing that they can't have that. But
it's definitely, everybody kind of jokes about like the hot older woman, but it is definitely a 23-year-old is an adult,
exactly,
taking advantage of somebody who is not an adult.
Did they really take advantage? I mean,
yeah.
Did that kid really say, man, I feel taken advantage of? Or was he like, this is awesome?
And that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, if I was go back to 15, like hell, if any woman would have been paying attention to me, I'd have been like, shit.
Oh, dude, it'd been like hitting the lottery. I mean, that was like the dream, an older woman, taking care of you or whatever. And I guess that's where there's some sort of difference between, a younger lady and a younger guy, I guess you could say. But I don't know, man. Like, and these kids, they fucking talk about it all the time. Like, I'd have kept my fucking mouth shut. Maybe one person, my best friend, would have known, but I don't know. I wouldn't have wanted anything to happen to that person, obviously.
Right. Well, you got to think, how often did this kind of stuff go on back in our day? Because these people are always caught because there's something on their cell phone.
Yeah. And back in our day, there was no
Right.
records. I had heard stuff about a few teachers,
Mhm.
but you know, I don't.
I think every school had rumors.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, they're just
Yeah,
rumors.
especially
You know?
if it was a young teacher, male or female, you'd kind of hear something.
I mean, well, and some of these teachers, they weren't anything to brag about.
Right.
So I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, it's just weird. But I go back to like, what do you want with a 14-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah, we've
And
talked about it before. Like,
obviously, we know what the 14-year-old wants because we were both 14.
I guess we know what she wants too.
Yeah.
But like we've talked about it before. Like I work around younger people and you know, some cute younger girls, but I'm like,
You know
after the initial like, oh, that she's cute. I'm like, what we don't even have like the same frame of reference anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
One.
Like there's a huge disparity in your train of thought versus their train of thought and the things you're into and the kid mentality versus your adult mentality. Like you're worried about other things versus they're not, you know, they're worried about, you know, what the flavor of the week is and
whatever
impressing
kids worry
people
about these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and you know, you get the natural brain reaction like, oh, attractive person. You're like, it's okay. Enjoy your life. I don't have anything in common with you.
Like, oh, she's cute for her age, but yeah, I don't like jail.
Yeah.
You know,
and even then, even if you were like 20s and a teen, you know, I mean, like
the weird thing is that she was posing as a younger person and tricking these people into relationships. Alyssa Ann's zinger, do you think she was like, I just zinged you? Was arrested Thursday on 2 counts of lewd and how do you say this? This is
lascivious.
Lascivious. That's a big word for me, man. I wish these fucking ads would stop popping up on here. Battery. 2 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation of a victim between the ages of 12 and 15 and 1 count each of possession of child pornography. Yeah, that'll get you if you have pictures. Transmission of child pornography by electronic device. See, there's all these new rules to account for this shit too, you know.
Well, even the thing is now, like, even if you're a teenager and you take pictures of yourself to send to somebody, that's still technically child pornography.
Yeah. And sexual cyber harassment. Wow. I mean, like I said, they've got all kinds of laws for this stuff now. You got to be careful. The 4 additional accusers in the case bring the total to 5, said Aaron Maloney, a spokesperson for the Hillsborough State Attorney's Office. A spokesperson for the Tampa Police Department, which is investigating the case, said Zinger was arrested after more possible victims were identified, but did not provide additional details about the allegations. Arrest affidavits were not immediately available Friday. Prosecutors are seeking to keep Zinger in jail until her case is resolved in a hearing on a motion for pretrial detention is set for Monday, Maloney said. Zinger was arrested November 24th on 2 counts of lewd and lascivious battery and 5 counts of lewd or lascivious molestation on a victim who was 12 to 15 years old. Zinger was released from jail later that day after posting bond totaling $52,500. According to the search warrant filed in that case, Zinger contacted a child over Snapchat. It's always fucking Snapchat, bro. Posed as a homeschooled student who had a sexual relationship with the child. Tampa police said at the time that Zinger had an inappropriate relationship with a boy who was between the ages of 12 and 15. Zinger told an accuser that she previously engaged in sexual activities with other minors, according to the warrant. One person told police during the investigation that Zinger sent a video to several children through Snapchat depicting sexual intercourse. Ooh. Multiple accusers said they believed Zinger was near their age and homeschooled, the warrant states. The state attorney's office dropped 2 of the 7 charges filed at the time, records show, including the charges filed after the November arrest. Zinger now faces a total of 12 counts. Yeah, bro, she's kind of
just weird. Like, what do you? I don't know.
It's weird that she pretended to be a kid, I guess, but I mean, she looks very young and youthful. So, I mean, I guess you could see it happening or whatever, but wow, you know,
like, is that like what's your type? Like preteen or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't
I love 12 to 15-year-old boys.
right? Like that's my sweet spot. Like, what is this?
Yeah. Hopefully she gets some help. Like, it all goes back to, what do you see? Like, they need to study these people and figure out what it is making them do these things. Because, I mean, she's an attractive girl. I mean, she could be pulling whatever she wants,
Yeah.
looking like that and being her age, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I guess she's got a type, and it's 12 to 15.
Let me help you with your homework, little boy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm homeschooled. I actually know all this stuff already. So you just come over to my house and I'll get you through it. Okay. You think they saw that Snapchat and they were like, fuck, this is awesome.
Right.
But all right. So moving along, we're going to go on to X-Men 97. I'm going to get IMDb up for this shit. So we are on, next week premieres the 5th episode. So we're about halfway through this bad boy. But man, every bit, it's not a letdown. Man, it's just picked up even more better than what it was when it left off. But not everybody is reprising their roles. But here we go. Let's share this on the screen here. X-Men 97. Fucking ads, dude. They're terrible. Okay, so this premiered on Disney Plus. You can watch this on Disney Plus, obviously.
Along with the original series, right?
Yes, you can watch the original series as well. But man, does it pick up right where it left off. And dude, that first episode was fucking epic. I mean, they kind of hit their sweet spot. It's a Sentinel episode, obviously.
Yeah.
But man, there's a fucking scene I had to rewind like several times where they're in the Blackbird. And do you want me to spoil it for you?
Go for it.
But a Sentinel rips the Blackbird open.
Okay.
And they all go flying out of the Blackbird in the middle of the air. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? And boy, do they get on. They fucking showcase Cyclops' powers like you wouldn't fucking believe in that scene. Like everybody else, they're like, oh, the people that can fly take care of everybody else. Morph turns into Archangel and saves somebody, and Rogue and Storm are doing their thing. And Cyclops is like, I'll see you on the ground. And he fucking blasts the ground all the way to where he lands.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit. Cyclops is a badass now. But yeah, and Jean Grey's pregnant in this, obviously, from what you've seen. But they kind of throw that into another storyline, and man, just good. Like the last episode was Jubilee episode.
Okay.
And who was the fat guy that like sucked him into a whatever reality where they were on TV out in space?
Wasn't
Mondo or something? Mondo, I think is his name.
Right.
Yeah. But he's in this one, he's skinny because he doesn't have any ratings to feed off of.
Okay.
And so he sucks Jubilee and a new character into a video game, which they kind of make it look like Nintendo or whatever, Super Mondo or whatever. Okay. But it's really cool. And it was nice to see Jubilee in a feature role and kind of growing up and stepping into that X-Men role.
Right. She was always like, maybe featured in like the first episode or something.
Yeah, she was
in the original series.
She was in episodes.
Like the idea was she was kind of like the young new X-Men, and she was kind of like our way in as the kids or whatever.
Yeah. But man, super cool. I'm having such a fucking great time watching the show. Like, I can't wait for Wednesday. When I get off work on Wednesday, I'm like, what am I making for dinner? I'm going to sit down and watch this and have my dinner and just be fucking great, man. So yeah, obviously the guy that played Magneto is not reprising his role. It's a new guy, Matthew Watterson.
Okay.
Wolverine is Cal Dodd again. If I said his name right, sorry. Of course, they got the dude back that played Beast, George Buza. I think that's how you say his name.
Okay.
But and then Lenore Zan, who did Rogue's voices back too. And they've got a new guy playing Gambit. This guy, Ray Chase, is playing Cyclops. Holly Chow is playing Jubilee, which actually they had a cool little thing when she meets an older version of herself in that game. And you get to see like how mature Jubilee is, and she develops more of her powers, from the pyro or whatever that she shoots out. But the original chick that played Jubilee did her voice for that episode
Okay,
for the
okay,
older
that's cool.
Jubilee. So it's cool that they're doing all this stuff, man. But yeah, Bishop's a part of the main X-Men crew until a later episode where he kind of takes off.
Yeah,
To
that was
go back into the future to solve something for them.
right. That was the Days of Future Past storyline or whatever.
Yeah.
From the cartoon back in the day was like what Bishop and Cable and all that.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, dude. And you already know Cable is going to make an appearance in this
Yeah.
somewhere, but Cable was the shit, dude.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with Cable in that last Deadpool movie.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed him in that.
I think I've still got a few of my old X-Men figures. I have to.
Oh man, they released a new line for this
Did
for
they?
X-Men 97. I kind of want to get them, but I'm like, I got so much shit. Where am I
Right.
going to put these? And I know once I buy them, they'll sit in the corner over here, and I'm
Right.
like, I need to just throw these in the next toy show.
Right. You'll enjoy them for a while. They'll be like, okay. time to go.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of like, it's behind that. Oh man, looks like this dude, Ross Marquand. I think he looks familiar.
His name sounds familiar.
I think he's the guy from Walking Dead. It looks like. Let's see how right we are on this. No, maybe not. He looks like that dude from Walking Dead. Another fucking ad, dude. Oh, maybe. Yeah. That's him. He's Eric on The Walking Dead, I believe. Or Aaron. Sorry. Aaron. That's what he is. Looks like he does some voice work here. Invincible. What If?
His name sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, that's cool, man. But man, X-Men 97, if you are any type of fan of the original animated series, you've got to check this out because it is just on fire right now. Every episode has been good. And, you know, the twist is at the end of the first episode, Magneto shows up and he's like, Charles Will has me taking over the mansion and the X-Men team. Sorry to disappoint you, Cyclops, but I'm in charge now. And they actually have like in episode 2, they have to go to, I forget what it is. The United Nations.
Okay.
And, you know, because they're like, something happens and they want Magneto arrested for his crimes against humanity and stuff. And he's like, listen, I'm trying to change. And then there's an attack. One thing leads to another, but Magneto showcases those powers, dude. He like lifts the whole ground up, the whole building.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, this is awesome.
Magneto was right.
It's so good, man. It's so good. And the voice actors are doing a great job. I mean, the returning characters in particular, I mean, the chick that does Rogue's voice, she's just sounds so great as Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Cal Dodd, you know, his voice has changed a little bit, but he still sounds good as Wolverine, I think. But yeah, the guy doing Cyclops is good. The dude doing Gambit is very close to the original Gambit, I think.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people have talked about that.
Cajun accent.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good show, dude. I can't say enough good things about it. You know, I wish that the animation style they would have kept similar to the original, but I get how they're doing it. You know, it's kind of somewhat anime, somewhat in between the original.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Because I'm a fan of the older animation styles and the older X-Men too. So I'm kind of curious to see it all in motion.
Yeah, it is a good show, man. And like I said, Wednesday comes around, and that is like I look forward to Wednesday. Hump Day is all about X-Men 97. But I see a lot of people are like saving it, and watching it on Saturday morning and eating cereal with it, just to get that feeling back of being a kid. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that this week, but I don't know if I can wait till Saturday to watch it. I got to watch it, you know. But yeah, great show. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I highly recommend it. And if you haven't seen the animated series and you're a fan of comics, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, you got to watch this. And I don't know, like, I guess you could watch it without seeing the animated series.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of, you know, I'm watching it when it ends. I'm going back and watching the original series. I think I'm in like season 3 now.
Right. I think that's kind of the big draw is that it's, like you said, it's the continuation. It's the nostalgia of it for some.
Oh, definitely.
And I do see people on social media talking about, like, I got my kid into it. I used to watch it. Now we're watching it together.
Oh yeah. That's so great that people are able to have that experience with their children and to show them what they were into as a kid and then be able to get them into the newer version of it. But it actually made me look up the original Pride of the X-Men pilot.
I saw a TikTok that was talking about that, about how that was the series before the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were talking about like the arcade game and how the arcade game was kind of more based off of that original series. And I
Well,
love that arcade game.
It's kind of funny in the Pride of the X-Men, they gave Wolverine an Australian accent.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's so cheesy. You're like, oh man, thank God they didn't go through with this and they were able to, get another pilot and something more successful after that. But yeah, man, I'm like X-Men crazed right now. I'm ordering X-Men shirts and I've got a couple of designs for Nerdco that I want to put up.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, I ordered artwork, I should say. I didn't design it, but I'll have show them to you before you leave.
X-Men fever.
Oh yeah, dude. I fucking loved X-Men back in the day.
Mhm.
That was my shit. That and Spider-Man, and a lot of people now are calling for Spider-Man to come back, and I hope they fucking do it.
I absolutely love that the Spider-Man, the animated series. Yeah, same time.
And when they did the fucking crossovers,
Yep.
that was so fucking cool,
As a
dude.
kid, there's a what?
Yeah, man. I watched an interview with the cast, the voice actors of X-Men, and it sounds like they kind of got fucked back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, and like the lady that did voices or did the voice for Storm in the pilot, they replaced her
Okay.
because of the residuals were higher for an American actor.
Okay.
So they went with Canadian voice
Right,
actors
right,
because
okay.
the residuals aren't as high. But these people, they didn't know how popular the show was.
Right.
So they never knew if they were coming back for another year until after the season ended.
Right.
And like they had tons of fan mail, I guess, never made it to them. They didn't know what it, so they had no idea how popular the show was. And I guess they also had to re-audition for their roles for X-Men 97. I'm like, get the fuck out. You're going to make the dude that plays Beast and Wolverine re-audition for their roles.
I get maybe if they're like, don't sound anything
like they
used to
sound
or something
older or
like
whatever, but and obviously a couple of them have passed on and they're not able to reprise their roles, but come on now, could we hear anybody else voicing Rogue, Wolverine? And I mean, yeah, you can get close, and obviously I think the guy that does Gambit's still around. I'm not 100% sure, but it just makes me sad, that they treated them like that. I mean, obviously I get them like, hey, let's see how you sound beforehand, but making them do a full on audition, like, come on.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's part of the nostalgia, and as an adult, you see like the people behind the scenes, and you're like, I love this thing. I wish the people that were involved with it were as taken care of as they should be.
Right. It just makes me sad, and I hope they do conventions. It sounds like a couple of them still do, but I hope they make their way to a convention here. I'd love to have some artwork signed by them, and get a picture with them too. So, because I mean, we're talking childhood nostalgia here, and it just hits my heart like right there, But man,
so many of those animated series back in the 90s, Batman, Spider-Man,
they were fucking on. And it's like, you ask us, who's your favorite Batman? We both say Kevin Conroy all the way. Like, he's Batman for us. And like Hugh Jackman, I'm sorry, but Cal Dodd is Wolverine, like that's the dude.
Right.
But I mean, come on. Who are we kidding here? Watch fucking X-Men 97, people. You won't fucking regret it. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk about Amazon Prime exclusive Roadhouse. I wish I would have loaded the Peter Griffin sound.
No roundhouses in this one, I don't think.
No, not at all. So what did you think? I'll let you start this one off.
Well, I messaged you in the group when I started to watch it. First, I was kind of pissed off by two things. First, the runtime was over 2 hours, which is one of my things anymore. And we'll talk about it with Ghostbusters too a little bit. Like I'm at that stage where a little less is more. Leave me wanting a little more, please.
Yeah.
And two, watch it on Amazon Prime, and there was this ad before it, and part of the ad was like, this movie is being brought to you ad free by 824, and they had a preview for a Civil War movie coming up, and like I didn't like the tone of that. Like they were almost threatening me, like we can put more ads in this thing if you want. And
we
I'm
could
like,
break this down and have an ad every 15 minutes.
Like I'm watching your streaming service
that I pay for.
That I'm already paying for.
Yeah.
That I'm paying for to watch this new movie. And you're like, threatening almost to make the experience worse by adding ads. Like I get if it was an old movie or something, you want to put some ads in it, maybe fine. But I don't know. I just didn't like the tone of it. Rubbed me the wrong way just to start the movie
to
out.
piggyback on your ride, or to piggyback on your ad complaint here, I just saw an article from a TikToker that I follow. He kind of talks about articles and stuff. Roku is submitting a patent to if you own a Roku TV to show ads to you when you pause your HDMI.
Yeah.
It registers that the HDMI isn't playing. So it'll show you ads when that happens. And it's like, come on, people. Do we need a fucking ad for everything? Are you really hurting that bad that you got to put ads in on now when people are playing their physical media or have a game pause that you're going to show them an ad? Like, I already get ads when my TV goes idle. Like, come the fuck on.
It shows you the state of things. Like they screwed up TV.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted to be the next Netflix. And they've just totally screwed up their ads and their revenue model and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're all scrambling like, let's up the premium. Let's add some more ads. Let's whatever we can do.
Yep.
And people are going to get tired of it pretty soon, I think. Dude, I don't know exactly what they're going to do about it, but
yeah. All right, so back to Roadhouse.
So remake of the 80s Swayze movie.
It's not connected in any way.
I gotta say, I like the original Roadhouse. Like,
oh, I love it.
Unironically, it's like just a really cool action movie.
My dad and I were talking, and I was kind of surprised to hear this, but he was like, there's a couple movies that I'm flipping through the channels and Roadhouse is on. I just stop what I'm doing and watch it. And I'm like, yeah, it's because it's fucking great. Yeah. I mean, it's good shit.
I think for a long time it was kind of seen as
cheesy.
I don't know if cheesy or something like that. It kind of is.
Yeah,
it's definitely a little
him doing the karate and stuff like that.
Tai Chi.
Yeah,
he rips the guy's throat out at one point. But I'm like, this is just a well-made, fun 80s action movie, and
it's definitely a movie of its time. Yeah, for sure.
It's got a spot for me. That's for sure. So this one, directed by Doug Liman, who's done some stuff I really like. He did Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
the Tom Cruise movie.
That's a good flick right there.
One of my favorite movies of like the last 10 years or
whatever. Boy, that really suffered from having a bad name.
Yeah,
was it Live, Die, Repeat originally?
Well, or
Edge of.
It started out based kind of like on an anime called All You Need Is Kill, which is a cool name. Why change it from that? And then it changes to Edge of Tomorrow, and then it comes out as Live, Die, Repeat. And now sometimes if you look it up, it's Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of like Live, Die, Repeat more than Edge of Tomorrow as well. And he did Mr. and Mrs. Smith, did one of the Bourne movies. So it's a director I'm pretty into. There was a big sort of to-do about it because for a while there he was saying he was going to boycott it because he was under the impression that it was supposed to be a theatrical release.
Yeah.
And I was kind of on the fence too about watching it. But then at some point, I guess somebody reminded him, actually, this was going to be a streaming deal, and we decided not to do theatrical, so we'd give you some more money. And I guess he kind of changed his stance on, like, oh, okay. So I didn't really have any problems watching it then. Jake Gyllenhaal stars in this one as our, what was his name?
Oh, here, I'll look it up real quick for you. Like Dalton.
So they kept the Dalton, but his first name was like Elwood or something like that. They say in there. And I didn't dislike it or anything.
Yeah, I see where a lot of people are shitting on it, and then other people love it.
Yeah, there are some things like they do the fight. Some of the fight sequences are very digital, and like the way they move the camera, it's obvious that it's digital, and it does result in some like weird looking arms or whatever.
Yeah.
I sent you guys
it's still that same like fight style that's in a lot of the newer action movies though, where
it's not nothing crazy.
They try to get the camera to follow around and stuff like that. And I get what you're talking about, where you see like the camera's focused down like Gyllenhaal and Connor's face and the long arms come out. It kind
of looks like Dulcine from Street Fighter.
Yeah. There's a lot of controversy around that because they say that they used AI to finish some scenes,
voices and all that.
Yeah.
So that's a little like, okay.
Because the rights are reverting back to the original owner and they didn't want to pay royalties.
Okay.
So there was some mad dash to get it. These are all allegations,
Yeah.
so nobody really knows for sure
Yeah,
yet.
these rights always have
Yeah.
funky things with it.
Yeah, I think there's a lawsuit. I don't know. It is what it is.
So I'm kind of into it. Like I like Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
He's actually he's almost like freakishly cut in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Insanely in shape.
like please put a shirt on it. It makes me uncomfortable how in shape you are.
Like at some point you're like, are your muscles going to cut through your skin? I mean, it's kind of like that. You're like, God damn, it's no longer a six pack.
It's like I can see all your muscles, like all of them.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And he's playing a UFC fighter who, I guess he killed a guy. Right?
Yeah, his best friend or trainer or something.
The idea is that like he's hooked on rage hall. If you get him in that place where he's really going to fight, he just can't stop until he basically kills somebody. So at the start of the movie, he's kind of going around. There's he's not credited as Post Malone. I forget. I think it's Austin Malone.
Yeah.
So at the start of the movie,
his pudgy ass in the ring.
They're doing like like the back bar room underground fighting. And he's like, I'll take on anybody. And Gyllenhaal comes in. They're like, oh no, I'm not fighting that guy though. He'll kill somebody.
Yeah, he barely gets time to like tie his shoes and he quits.
So Gyllenhaal is kind of doing that for money. And then a woman approaches him and gives you the story from the first one, like, hey, I'm opening a bar and I've got people causing trouble and I need somebody to kind of come down and be the lead bouncer and all that.
She offers him like $5,000 a week or something like that
for like a month.
Yeah,
just to come down and like get the place cleaned up.
Like, who's got that kind of money? Like, do bars turn in that kind of dough? I mean,
but he says no. He's like, I'm just gonna go park my car on the railroad tracks and die. Like,
yeah. Until his car gets fucked up. Right. And then he's like, I need money.
yeah. I could have gone down to Florida and made some money. Like, I just want to kill myself.
Do you think the Florida Keys is going to experience some type of tourism now?
I'm wondering like how,
because it seems like this is a really popular movie.
Yeah, I'm wondering how people in the Florida Keys feel about it. Like, yeah, come down to the Florida Keys or a shitty bar where people are going to come cause trouble.
People fly boats in the bars. And the sheriffs are crooked as can be.
Right.
They even let their daughters get kidnapped.
And they've got, he makes friends with like a local girl and her dad who like run the local bookstore and all that. That was kind of cool. And I like the idea of like Jake Gyllenhaal being the bouncer who goes down to Florida. This could have been like a cool like 90s style like Florida mystery kind of thriller thing, and it almost is. And I don't know, it's just too much. The Conor McGregor shows up at one point.
You sure about that?
I think there's a better movie in here somewhere too that could have been cut down. And it's like I could almost see it. That's the my big problem with the movie, and I've heard from a lot of people like I can see a pretty good movie in here.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just a little too much or something.
It definitely felt like it could have been a lot better. And one of my big complaints was they flash back his career, and I felt like they really just should have started the movie off with him training to fight or whatever, and showing us that friendship that he destroys and murders his friend, but they didn't. So you just kind of have to assume what it is. All right there, buddy.
A little bit in the wrong tube.
Wrong pipe. I hate when that fucking happens. You ever just been sitting there and you go to take a breath and your saliva goes in the wrong pipe and you're like, fuck.
Stupid throat.
Yeah.
Actually though, I would have preferred if there was less UFC.
Really?
If they were the way they did it, I wish they just kind of cut it all out. There's a scene where the bad guy shows up in the bar and he's like, I found this clip on YouTube from the fight. Like if they'd have just left that in and just told us that he killed a guy.
See, I just wanted to see where he was before. Yeah. I don't know what was making me want that, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted a little bit of more backstory, I guess.
And that's the thing. Like it could have been more or it could have been less.
Yeah.
But they kind of just give us this spot where nobody's happy.
What's the runtime on this? 121 minutes.
It says 121 on Letterboxd here, but I feel like it was actually a couple minutes longer than that. It might have been with the credits and all that.
Well, it did kind of like after a while, you're like, okay, this can get over with at any moment.
A little too much.
Yeah, I thought Conor McGregor was good, and I'm not a Conor McGregor fan. I think he's annoying.
I found him annoying.
Did you? But that part where he they call him up and tell him to come, and he's jumping out of a room and walking around the town naked and causing problems.
Steal some guy's suit.
But when he shows up in the Florida Keys and he's like, all right, let's see what this is all about. And he walks in and he's like, where the fuck is everybody? Like you laughed at that, didn't you?
It was, I mean, he's too over the top.
Yeah.
But he is very over the top.
And you're watching this and you're like, are there really people that behave in this manner? And I want to say, yeah, they probably
somebody
is.
has this man has been shot somewhere. There's no way a person like this gets through life. You could have done that in like an 80s movie, but this is not quite that.
Yeah.
And there's something about his voice is really annoying in the movie too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like I went back because I know who he is, but I've never really paid much attention to him. And his voice in real life is kind of annoying too, I guess. But something about it, I don't know, something about in the movie, it's even like weirder. Like I don't even know what it is. It's just kind of weirder.
So the movie itself on Letterboxd has a 2.6 rating. And it looks like you and I both gave it a 3.
Like I said, I see there's something in there. For one, I'm a Gyllenhaal fan.
Yeah.
Like if you tell me Jake Gyllenhaal's in something, I'm at least interested.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was somewhere in here was like a cool, like 90-minute action thriller about a guy going to do the Roadhouse thing.
There's a 4-star movie in here, definitely, but it just some reason, like I don't know if it's poor direction or what, but it doesn't deliver.
Right.
It doesn't hit where it doesn't get its potential. But
I missed
it's still a fun movie to sit down and watch, though. That's the thing.
Like in the original Roadhouse, there's the scenes where like he teaches the other guys to be bouncers and stuff, and there's none of that in here. There's a little bit.
There's a little bit of coaching on the job.
Right. He's got a couple. He brings in a couple guys who kind of helps out and teaches him a little.
He's
something.
like, listen. He's gonna try to punch you. Just dodge that.
Yeah. He's got a knife. When he swings at it, just take a step back and then punch him right in the face.
Yeah.
Well, like there's the scene where he gets the guys out in the parking lot. He's like, I'm going to go mess up their bikes. These are your bikes, right? And he gets them out of the bar and then he's got to fight him. And of course, he ends up kind of taking him to the hospital. I think that's all in the trailer. And that's funny. And it was good.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted a little more of that, maybe in a way. And it was just like I said, there's a better movie in here. And there's something about it. Like I say,
it's really not terrible. But it just misses its potential somewhere. That's the only thing I can come to say about it,
Yeah, I miss, like I said, I don't get the AI fights and all that. Like, we saw John Wick last year. John Wick won our Sleazy, whatever, for best action movie. Like,
yeah,
there are people who will set up fights for you in movies, and I don't know. The directing wasn't the greatest, and especially in the action scenes. The rest of it was fine. Like I said, there's a moment where he's talking with the young girl who runs the bookstore, and she's kind of like, you're kind of like the hero who rides in a Western. And I'm like, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Give me sort of almost a Western in a way. Gyllenhaal, cut out some of these side characters and all that.
And they didn't do a good job with his relationship with the chick that he was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just didn't feel the love between them,
Yeah, she was okay, but yeah, just
like if there's all that crazy shit going on there, I'd have just been like, yeah, this chick ain't worth it. I'm out.
They could have dialed her back a little bit too. Like I said, there's somewhere in here is like a 90s style.
Even his relationship with the bar owner, you just didn't feel like a connection there.
Right. She wasn't in it a whole lot.
Yeah.
So like I say,
I wish they would have done more music in the bar scenes too.
Yeah. That was another plus of it. The bar bands were all pretty good. So like I say, I see a better movie in there.
Yeah.
And I wish we'd gotten that one.
Yes, I'm with you.
It's not terrible or anything, whatever. If you got a night to check it out, check it out.
Yeah. And if you disagree with us, let us know. If you think it fucking sucked and it's the worst piece of shit ever, I would love to hear your opinion.
I wouldn't.
I
don't want to hear any of your opinions.
Don't say that. We want interaction. I just don't want to hear, Donald Trump is the reason why this wasn't good or something. You know what I mean? Like,
have a blessed day.
Yeah. You realize the production value wasn't great because Donald Trump isn't president. That's why this movie ultimately didn't exceed your expectations. Okay, so we are on our last segment of the show. So we're going to talk about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Who are you gonna call, right?
Does busting still make you feel good?
It does. 100%. So this is the sequel to Afterlife, which we got in 2020. But I had fun watching this at the theater. I'll say it. I know a lot of people aren't too big about it. It's getting kind of I don't know what you want to say. The critics don't like it, but wasn't well received in the critic arena. But I had fun with it, and it had a lot of reminiscent feelings of the real Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of real Ghostbuster vibes. The characters are still fun.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see Slimer interacting with the newer Ghostbusters. So, I mean, that was cool. The storyline, I felt like it dragged out a little bit. And there were some things that could have.
That's what I put on my letterbox. It's messy. It's fun,
Yeah.
but it was messy.
Yeah. There's some things where like the whole side thing with the ghost and what's her face's character, you're like kind of like, what do we really need
the
this?
Oddly maybe the oddly almost romantic.
Yeah, like at one point I'm thinking she's gonna like have sex with this ghost,
a kiss her or something. Like,
yeah,
okay, that's a little odd.
It's like they didn't want to go there, but they kind of wanted to go there.
It felt like they went there quite a bit without going all the way. But like I said, sometimes you watch that, or you'll watch something like that. It's like, is it just me? Like, am I reading into it? And it's just I
was waiting for the ghost sex scene at one point.
Like there's a scene where they got some new ghost busting equipment, and they can basically remove the spirit.
Yeah,
and she has her own spirit removed, so she can hang out with the ghost spirit for a while, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is where it's going down.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of weird. Like I say, it was a choice, that's for sure.
I really enjoyed it, man. It was so cool to see Paul Rudd as a Ghostbuster, that wasn't it?
Yeah,
Paul Rudd's so awesome.
Part of the problem is there's almost too many characters in this movie.
Yes, too many characters. Like they could have not had Podcast and the other girl from the first the first Afterlife movie or whatever we want to call it,
or work them into the story a little better. Like I get it. I think Podcast was okay because he was like part of Dan Aykroyd's thing. And then like the girl, she's part of like the new Ghostbusters, whatever you want, Institute or whatever.
It's kind of like they were introducing characters for future films.
Right.
Like, what is his?
The British guy.
Well, Patton Oswalt too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell like the original Ghostbusters are stepping down,
And I liked his part, but other people have pointed out like you could have just had Dan Aykroyd do that.
There was no point. Like that was the whole point. I think they're just introducing him for future films because Dan Aykroyd probably won't be, in them or whatever. Who knows?
At some point.
Yeah.
But Dan Aykroyd was actually one of the things I liked a lot about this movie, because you can tell like there's even a line in the movie where he says, there's nothing I'd rather be doing than being a Ghostbuster.
Right.
And you can tell like he believes that in real life. Like this is, the series that he's always liked, and he's happy to be a part of it. And I'm glad he got to be a part of it and in such a big role for this one. And of course he like we're talking about, this is obviously like a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to focus more on the family and the new people. But you could tell as long as Aykroyd's alive, he's going to have like a cameo or a bit part in it. Same for the rest of the guys. Ernie Hudson. Who knows if Bill Murray's going to keep coming back for more? For a long time there, he was really kind of against it, but he's been in the last two.
And he delivered, man. Like where he shows up and he gives a couple one-liners, and you're like, oh, that's so fucking great. It's so great.
I almost wish there was a little less Murray. He's pretty much in like two scenes. And like the first scene he's in, he shows up and he's doing like a psychic examination. And it's a throwback to part 1 or 2 where he's doing the same thing. And that was really great. Like if he'd have just been in that, I'd have been fine with that too. And then he shows up toward the end. That's expected. He's one of the Ghostbusters and he's going to show up and help everybody out. That was okay. But there's this scene. I don't know if you've caught it, but he shows up and he knocks on the door and it's supposed to be scary. Like maybe it's one of the ghosts or whatever. But there's the next scene where he's suddenly got sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Just so he can take the sunglasses off and call the ghost, tall, dark, and horny or whatever. I'm like, where did those sunglasses come from?
He looked great in those.
Yeah.
Were they Ray-Bans or something?
Yeah.
But they were great. I really loved it when he walked into the firehouse and he's, reminiscing about the good old days, and he hits the fucking panel or whatever and reaches back and grabs some liquor from back there, and you're like, that's fucking awesome, man.
It's a real alcoholic there.
Oh man,
you get to see Janine,
yeah, Janine was good, man.
Janine's always good. Like,
we're just missing Rick Moranis.
Somebody offer him whatever he wants.
Yeah,
I don't care how many zeros and commas he wants. I just want Rick Moranis back one more time.
Just one more time. I want to see him bust a ghost.
And like I said, no, there's, if you're gonna be doing a franchise, even if the movies don't make like crazy money, like I think it's okay to have people in the movie less. Like Finn Wolfhard has the little part where with Slimer, like that didn't really need to be in there. You could have cut back on that and maybe had him interact with the girl from the last one at the Ghostbusters place or whatever.
I like the little chase that he has going on with Slimer.
Mm-hmm.
And like how Slimer is that? You find Slimer in a pile of fucking junk food bags that he's eaten and gone through. But my only complaint, I mean, aside from it kind of drifting away in the middle of the movie, I really want to see Slimer be friends with them and go on missions with them and
like
do cool things. Yeah, like that was cool. That was a cool thing about the cartoon. And I don't know. I was hoping that he would make friends, like his character would make friends with Slimer at least, and we didn't get that.
Right. You kind of thought that's where it was going.
Yeah,
in a way.
Maybe next movie. So,
but yeah, and it kind of messes with like the family dynamic because you got Paul Rudd and Carrie Coons. I feel like Carrie Coons wasn't in it that much.
No. And
again, that would be okay if the movie was a little not quite so messy. If they chose to focus on whatever. And that's my big complaint. It's just kind of a little too all over the place.
Yeah, you've got the family struggling to kind of find their way as a family, and then you've got the ghost. They're trying to get the business of ghost busting back together, and then you've got the former EPA guy is the mayor now, and after they go on a run and she torches part of the city, they're like, "You are under 18. You don't need to be operating a nuclear device."
Child labor laws here and whatnot involved.
Yeah, like you're not old enough to do this. So they kind of put her on the bench, and McKenna Grace's character, the young Spangler, but and then you've got Ernie Hudson's character, Winston, is got this whole network behind him. They're in this shitty rundown firehouse, and then you find out he's got another thing that he sunk all this money into, and they're doing all this research where they can take spirits out of items, and it's just like state of the art, but he's letting them sleep in a rundown firehouse. That didn't make any sense.
And not like that was kind of like, the ghost trap is full after 40 years or whatever. Like maybe we should have been doing something about this a while ago. It's like, oh, we have been. We just didn't tell you.
Yeah. We've got a state of the art thing, where we're actually putting other ghosts in as we speak. And it just didn't make any sense. Like, he seems like he's all in on them at the end of the last movie, but then he's keeping things from them. And it's like, I don't know.
And like,
and somehow the girl from the original town is an expert in all this equipment, and she's working in this facility. That's what kind of got me. But
she was good. I wish we'd have had less of some other stuff and maybe more of her. Like that should have been like her and Finn Wolfhard should have been kind of doing something together.
Yeah.
In this movie, I didn't realize until it was over that it wasn't directed by Jason Reitman.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. And then I saw it. I was like, oh, he wasn't directing.
I wonder if maybe that hurt it just a little. He was still involved. He wrote it and all that, but
he produced it. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Looking at the filmography of the guy who did direct it, I'm kind of like, he did Monster House, which I think was animated. City of Ember, I'm not sure what that was. He did the Poltergeist remake, which I don't think was.
I haven't seen that yet. I have it in my Voodoo account.
I don't think it was too highly thought of. How's it going to be when?
Yeah, the original Poltergeist still holds up today.
A Boy Called Christmas. So I guess he's doing there's an upcoming SNL movie about like what it was really like in the 70s or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so he's definitely not as.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
as experienced as Jason Reitman is.
The movie starts out really great, and then it kind of gets a little slow, but they take it on the home stretch. They really they hit their stride, and they end on a bang. I mean, and like we said earlier, what do you want to see in a Ghostbusters movie? You want to see cool new devices, traps. different characters and stuff like that. And we got all that. So, I mean, it wasn't like they didn't deliver on certain expectations. But yeah, I mean, the movie it has its slow points. And, the whole, did that Ghost Girl really need to be in there?
Well, and then we didn't even talk about Kumail Nanjiani's character.
Did he really need to be
bearer.
in there?
Like, he's funny and everything too, but it just sort of like an extra character that, he was basically trying to be the key master kind of character again.
Yeah. My thing was, does he need to be that stupid? Like, is he really is anyone really that stupid? Like, almost, it was almost like he kind of had some disorder or something. And you're like, come on, dude.
Well, it's like he's selling Dan Aykroyd. I forget what the artifact is, but he's selling that to
that
Dan
holds
Aykroyd.
the
ball prison or whatever.
Yeah, it holds the creature that's the protagonist in this film, I guess you could say.
And like, he's just like selling, like, yeah, that's my grandma's, and like, you get later, like, his grandma had like a whole room of old artifacts where you'd kind of be like, oh, maybe this is something. I don't.
But she didn't teach you about this thing that you're selling for $40 or $100 or whatever. Yeah, it just seemed a little outrageous on that part, but
a little too silly. But it was something that could have been folded in somewhere else, maybe.
That's where we have to remind ourselves that these movies just aren't for us adults that grew up with. I mean, they're trying to make it fun for kids. Yeah,
that's fine.
And I get that. That's all added for humor for the kids and stuff like that. But yeah, I could have done without him in general, I guess. But
much or less of him anyway.
Yeah.
But much like Roadhouse we're just talking about. Like, I feel like there's a better movie in here somewhere.
Yes.
Give me like a 90, 100-minute movie, something like that. Cut out some of this extraneous stuff.
I see where you gave it a 3 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I just
I gave it a 3.5 because I still had fun with it.
Yeah.
So
I just couldn't do it. I wanted to be a 3.5. I really did, but just 3.
Now the last one I was like 4.5 or something like that. So
it had the sentimentality. Afterlife had the sentimentality. Finally,
Afterlife was the perfect sequel that we had all been wanting for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But
I get it. A lot of people didn't like that one for various reasons, but
Afterlife was the shit, dude.
It's what I just wanted. After that, like, do whatever you want. I don't feel I got some closure with the series.
Right. And I'm with you there.
I don't, whatever. If you want to do some sort of sequel to Answer the Call Now or whatever, that's fine. Go do that. I got my closure on it.
How great was like at the end when they defeat the villain, the ghost or whatever, and they're coming out of the firehouse or whatever, and there's obviously like New York City is there because they know what's up. They know who saved the day. And Bill Murray comes out and he's like, you're welcome.
Do it.
You're welcome.
Doing his Bill Murray.
Yeah, like that was just so fucking, like, that made the movie for me there. Like seeing Bill, come out like, yeah, I've saved the day before. You're welcome again.
Like I said, there's there's the scene where they go to the library. And I like Patton Oswalt's character.
Yeah.
But there was like, I was thinking, even while it was happening, like there's the scene, and I think it's the first one, where they're talking about like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it's just Ray and Winston in a car with some moody lighting talking. And when Patton Oswalt goes to sort of give the lore behind the ghost, they do like some little animation thing.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the scene thinking, how much better for me would the scene be if it was just like Patton Oswalt, they're in the basement of the New York Library or whatever, telling this story with some moody lighting, switching back to the family or to Dan Aykroyd and the kids. Like, that would have been more Ghostbusters to me.
How great was it that Ray ran into the original ghost,
right?
In the library basement, and he was like, oh, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this. The statue coming to life was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess. And the Proton like Ghostbuster bike was kind of cool too.
Yeah. And that's something that's almost like right out of the cartoon.
Yeah. So I mean, we got enough out of it to appreciate it, and I think any Ghostbusters fan got enough out of it to appreciate it.
I'm certainly willing to admit its flaws and wish it was a better movie. It was fine.
Yeah.
I hope they make another one and do.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm gonna buy this on 4K Blu-ray or whatever and get the digital code, and it's gonna be part of my little collection that I have.
I have heard somebody I follow on Letterboxd and Twitter X recently said
Twitter X.
they sat down and rewatched the 2016 Ghostbusters, but they said they watched the extended cut, and they said the extended cut is actually maybe better than the theatrical. Like it's actually a better structured movie and everything.
Come on.
So I'm almost, part of me wants to give it a second chance.
That person's full of shit.
I think some I might, but the only place you can find the extended cut is the Blu-ray. I don't really want to buy the.
Yeah, I'm
Blu-ray
not
just
buying
yet.
that movie. Fuck
If
that.
it's streaming somewhere, I'll definitely check it out. But
If somebody gave me that movie for free, I would walk it right over to the trash can and throw it away right in front of them. Like for real.
thanks, but no.
Yeah. That movie was trash, dude. Straight up trash. And anybody tells you that that movie was better than these two newer Ghostbuster movies we've got, they're fucking trash too. Don't ever take their opinions for anything. But yeah, listen, you got to see this. You know, if somebody's still listening to this that hasn't seen it, you got to see it. You got to see it. It's a fun movie. It's fun. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to have fun and be entertained. And it delivered on that.
You know, I get it. Some people, part of the reason they didn't like Afterlife is they felt Afterlife was too serious. And it is kind of a serious movie.
Yeah.
And they thought this was trying to get more back to just being the fun kind of Ghostbusters, which is should be really.
How awesome was it seeing fucking Ecto-1 like sliding around fucking corners in New York City, right. And you're like, oh, this just it's hitting it.
It hits my spot.
Yep. But yeah, fucking watch it, man. And if you are listening, you're like, man, these dudes are full of shit. We fucking hated it. I want to hear. I want to hear why you hate it. So, and if you love it, I want to hear why you love it too. But
I'd definitely be curious to see how younger people, children, have been reacting.
I'm just happy that kids are able to see what we loved and experience, you know, maybe not have the same experience, but they have Ghostbusters now.
Like I say,
so, and it's nice that there's women Ghostbusters now too.
I really, I enjoy that. It's kind of got the real Ghostbusters vibe, the cartoon, because I almost kind of grew up more on the cartoon than the movies, even though I watched
same here.
But I still enjoy the cartoon.
We had a thing in our meeting at work on Thursday, like, what was your favorite 80s movie? And I got, man, it's Ghostbusters. It's Ghostbusters. I mean, that's the one I watched the most as a kid. But I'm with you. I mean, it's kind of funny. We had my nephew over, like, I don't know, like a month ago or something. And he was like, I want to be this when I grow up. What did you want to be when you grew up? And I'm looking, you know, my dad, he's kind of looking at me, and I'm like, I don't remember like wanting to be something when I grew up. Like, and my dad was like, I think you wanted to be a Ninja Turtle or a Ghostbuster. I'm like, yeah, that seems about right. You know, that was it. I ate, slept, and breathed Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles. So anything new that I get that's somewhat entertaining, I'm happy with.
Right.
So,
like I say, I hope they come back. I hope the next one's a little better.
But you were 3 on this rating. I was a 3.5.
I don't. I almost put that in my rule. Like, I don't want 3's not a bad rating. 3 is watchable.
No, it's above average.
And I almost want to say it's better than a 3. So I don't want to sell it short. It's a fun movie. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it.
Since Robzilla is in here, I'll say his rating 3.5. Of course. You know, he gauged what we both rated. He was like, I'll go with the 3.5. But yeah, that's all we have for you on this episode of the Sleazy Podcast. As always, please hit the subscribe button. Like the videos on YouTube. You know, all that helps in us getting more views and listens and whatnot. And make sure you share the show with somebody. So, you know, that's always my call to action. Just share the show with somebody, and from there we'll get another listener.
Like the TikToks. Share the TikToks.
There is no better
on the TikToks.
Yes, comment on them. And there's no better you know, there's no better advertisement than word of mouth from you guys. You know, if you love it, then tell people why you love it, and keep pestering them until they fucking listen. And they're ours. They're part of the Sleazy universe.
Sleazy universe.
But like I said, that's all we have for you. And remember, keep it sleazy.
Thanks for listening to the Sleazy Podcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and remember, listen to Sleazy.
Robzilla still sucks.